Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're all here. Good. Okay. Let's begin with our Birchot HaShachar. Let's please everyone rise. We're on page 65 in our Siddur.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasefina havchin bein yom uvein laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzomo.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorin.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pakeach ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish harumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kifufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam raka haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzarki.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozei Yisrael b'gvuracha.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam botei Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam anoten la'yafko.
Amen.
Amen. Praised are you, God, who gives vigor to the weary, strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Udneinu hayom v'chayom lecheinu lechesed rachamim b'einecha v'einei kol intilin chasim tovim Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim li'amo Yisrael.
Our Father,
Amen.
us in our Siddur Sim Shalom,
Amen.
down to Baruch She'amar, which is on page 83. 83, and we rise for this prayer.
Baruch Shamar v'haya ha'olam Baruch hu Baruch oseh b'reishit Baruch omer v'yoseh Baruch ozer u'mekayem Baruch merachem al haaretz Baruch merachem al habriot Baruch mishalem sachar tov lireyav Baruch ha'ila'ad v'kayam lanetzach Baruch Hodeh Masil, Baruch Shema.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Legadelcha und Shoshavecha und Nefarecha und Varech Hashem Kodshecha. Yachid Chei Hulim Melech Meshubach Umfor Adayat Shmo Hadol Baruch atah Adonai Melech Mehulal Batish Bachar.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
And now on page 104, Nishmat Kol Chai, this prayer which helps us to focus on our breath, the breath within every living thing that praises God. Page 104.
Nishmat kol chai, tzavarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu.
Veruach kol basar. Never could we fully state our gratitude for 1/10,000th of the lasting love that is your precious blessing, God, granted to our ancestors and to us.
Yishmael Adonai Eloheinu v'yitavei Eloheinu nevarim shafilak tavano. Yidmelach u'miyishvelach u'miyarach lach ha'el ha'gadol ha'gibor v'ha'nora el elyon kanei shamayim v'aretz nahalelcha u'neshapecha u'nevayerecha u'nevarech et shem kodshecha kahamor לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני, בכל קרבי, את שם קודשו. האר בתעצומות עוזך, הגדול בכבוד שמך, הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך, המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא.
Venisa. A big koach to Charlie Scott for leading us through our Pesuke de Zimra, our spiritual warm-up, as we get ready to continue our Shabbat morning service on page 105. We welcome Cantor Vorshavsky, who will be taking us through the prayer Shochen Ad, and all those who are joining us from near and far. We're happy you're here praying along with us this morning. Page 105.
Shochen ad morom v'kadosh shemo. Shochen ad morom v'kadosh shemo. Befi sharim titala ubedivrei tzadikim titbarach shochen ad marom v'kadosh shemo. Shochen ad marom v'kadosh shemo. בפי ישרים מדלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון החסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדוש ובמחלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל תרינה יספר שלך מכיר מחדור בדור שכן חובת כל היצורים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר לרומם להדר עבורך הלב לקלל סהר לכל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך.
Now we rise. Yishtabach on page 106.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו.
Yishtabach Shimcha Lo'ad Malkeinu El HaMelech HaGadol.
ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך מלכי העולמים.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ובורא חושך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
Praying in the middle of page 107, these blessings that will lead us toward the Shema. Hakol yoducha v'hakol yeshavchucha.
אין ככבוד אלוהים יום הזה ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי עולם הבא אפס פלטך גולן לימות המשיח ואין דומה לך
Join us in singing El Adon wherever you are. We want to hear you. Page 108.
El Adon al kol ha'masim, baruch umevorach befi kol neshama, gadlo betuvo, malei olam, da'atu tevuna sovevim moto, Hamitkae al chayot hakodesh, menedor merkavod al hamerkava, zechut umishor lifnei chiso, chesed verachamim lifnei chevodo, tovim meyorot shebara Eloheinu, yitzaram bedat bebina ubehaskel, koach ugebura natan bahem, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נעזיבם בכל העולם, בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים בימה רצון קולם, פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמוע, צהלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, אור השמש ויזרח אור, רב והתקין צורת הלבנה, שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום, כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ויופנים וחיות הקודש. לא אלא ששבת מכל המעשים ביום השביעית על וישב על ידי כבודו.
God who rested on the seventh day, Oneg Kara Leyom HaShabbat, calling Shabbat a delight, the rest of Shabbat a delight. V'yom HaShvi'i.
תתברך משה אשר מעשה ידיך במאור שעשית יברך הסלע.
Page 110.
תתברך סולם לכם גם לכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה בטהרה ושירה וזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא, וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להנגיש ליוצרה בנחת הרוח בסוף עברנו ונעימה קדושה כולם כאחד. עולים ואומרים מירה Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzivahot, Melech kol haaretz Kevodo. Ve'ofanim v'chayot hakodesh berash gadol menosim leyumat serafim leyumatam meshabechim ve'omerim baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo. Le'el baruch mimot yitenu lamelech el chai v'kayam ziminot yameinu v'tishbechot yashmiu. Or chadosh al Tzion ta'ir v'nizkechunu l'meinu le'yono. Baruch ato Adonai
Shema.
Yotzer hame'ono.
Amen. Page 111, Ahavaraba.
Let's sing together. Ahavoravo ahtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla gedola v'yeteva, chomalta aleinu. Avinu malkeinu, ba'avur avoteinu, shebatchu becha, Avinu malkeinu. V'tilamdem chukei chaim, kein techanenu telamdenu, Avinu ha'marachaman, ha'merachem aleinu. V'tein belibeinu lehavin, lehaskil lishmoa, lilmod ulelamed, lishmor ve'lasot. ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה, והערנו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ולא נמוש לעולם כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בדקנו, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו כממיות לארצנו, כי אין פועל ישוע הודעת וברוך בחרת מגלם ולשון, וכן אהבת לשמך הגדול סלע באמת, להודות בכל יחידך באהבה, ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר לעמו ישראל באהבה.
Amen.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם נאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
The second and third paragraphs of the Shema, words which remind us to focus our intention on the mitzvot, to listen to God's words. Im shamoa tishma'u.
וכתבתם זו ביתך ובשעריך למען ימיניך ומברכם על האדמה שמשפט הנאורת תקנות להם ימי השמיים על הארץ.
Page 113. We'll pray together the third paragraph of the Shema.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותם וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת אדוני אלוהיכם
V'yat Siv, page 113.
לדור ודורכם ושמעתכם בחיסונכם ומלכותו באמונתו לא על חיימת ודבריו חיים וקיימים נאמנים
Ein Elohim zulatecho. On page 114, Ezrat Avotenu, Atahu Me'olam. Rabbi? It seems that we have experienced a glitch that our cantor has gone for a bathroom break or he's out of our Zoom room. So we'll continue on. Charlie, I see that you're here. Would you like to sing to lead us a bit in Micha Mocha as we turn toward the Amidah?
Sure.
Okay, so let's continue our prayers.
Tehillah le'elyon baruch hu v'orach Moshe b'nei Yisrael achanu shira b'simcha raba ve'amru chulam
Mi chamocha bo'elim Adonai
mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nahara tehillah asef eleh שירה חדשה שבחוגי עולים לשמחה שפת הים יחד כל עמדו ולכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך עולם ועד Tzur Yisrael, Koma ve'ezrat Yisrael, Kodeinu Mecha, Yehuda Yisrael, Go Aleinu Adonai Tzevat Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Go Yisrael.
Amen.
Yesher Koach, Charlie, for jumping right in. And now as we turn to page 115b, we'll begin our Amidah for Shabbat Shacharit. Charlie, you'll lead us in the opening blessings, and we'll pray through those blessings on page 115b before taking time for private prayers and individual reflection, offering the prayers that are on our own hearts as well, beginning on page 117.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol V'zocher chazdei avad u'mevi goel livnei b'neihem l'man shemo be'yahava melech ozer foked u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham u'foked Sarah atah gibor le'olam Adonai mechayei metim atah Rav lehoshia, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye metim berachamim rabim, samech noflim berofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar. Michamacha ba'al gevurot umidam melach melech memir u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'nemanata la'achayot meitim Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hametim.
Amen. We are calling. Rabbi, you have to promise me if I go missing from Zoomland, you'll come looking for me,
We're
please.
sending a search party. So we'll
I'm
extend
feeling
our
badly.
prayers to Cantor Borshovsky. We hope he's okay. I'm sure it was just a technical glitch. Maybe if he sings loud enough, we'll still be able to hear him from Musaf. That we can only hope. But for now, it's okay because we're turning to our Torah learning and our Torah chanting. We have Charlie Scott here, Baruch Hashem, who will be laning for us this morning, this beautiful Shabbat morning. I want to say a word about the Parsha. We're in Naso. Before I do, why don't we all join together? Because Torah study is really a sacred act. And I'd like for us to join together in saying the blessing. It helps us to really focus our minds before we learn a bit of Torah, before we hear a bit of Torah. Wherever you are, I hope you'll say the blessing with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. And the word la'asok doesn't just mean to study. It doesn't just mean to hear. It means to engage and to really wrestle with the text and to try to find new meaning and new interpretations each and every time we study. So as I mentioned, we are in the portion of Naso. It's the fourth chapter of Bamidbar, the fourth chapter of the book of Numbers. And I want to say a very brief word. There's a lot going on in our world, but I want to keep it pretty Torah focused, at least for now, because we begin by learning about the work of the Gershonite clan. We find out that the Gershonites in this opening chapter had a specific job to do, that of all of our ancestors, it was them, the Gershonites, whose job it was to carry parts of the tabernacle. We had this portable sanctuary that was moved throughout the desert as we traveled, and thinking logistically speaking, it had to be carried. There were different components that had to be brought through the desert. And so we get in the opening chapter of the parasha these words, Zot avodat mishpachot hagershuni. This is the work of the family, of the clan of the Gershonites, la'avod. They had this kind of hard work. They didn't have it so easy, a life of luxury out in the midbar, out in the desert. La'avod, to work, ulamasa, and to move these components of the tabernacle, v'nasu, and to carry them, to really carry them, the cloths, its covering. I thought about this image from this week of the Gershonites carrying this heavy load as we walked through the desert, our ancestors walked. Reminded me of a beautiful rabbinic teaching that I want to share with you. It's on this concept of holding on to what's heavy, of holding on to something. The Talmud says in reference to this scene, this idea, Naso Aaron et Nosin, Naso Aaron et Nosin, that the very ones who carried the ark were themselves carried by it. That in some sense, those who did the work of holding, of carrying this heavy lifting, were held up, so to speak, by God in doing that work. Now, why do I say all this? I share it, and I said I wasn't going to get into current events too much, but I share it because we're all carrying so much on our hearts these days. As a society, as individuals, we see the pain that's in the world, we see it clearly, and we feel it. Welcome back, Cantor.
I will.
Good timing.
Thank you.
The uncertainty of the future, we have a lot on our plates. We have a lot on our plates. There's a lot that we're holding. There's a lot that we're carrying like the Gershonites, and it's heavy. It's just a heavy time to be alive. And that's why I found that teaching to be so meaningful. When the Talmud says the ones who carried the ark were carried by it, that we can remember one of the promises of our Torah, that with all that we're carrying and holding on to emotionally, in so many ways, it's our faith and it's God that carries us. And I want us to remember that this Shabbat, how our prayers, how our community, how our learning, how the guidance of our mitzvot and our rituals will lift us up if we allow them to. And they'll hold us through these challenging times because they've held our people for generations. Prayer book says, God does not allow our steps to falter. God will not allow our steps to falter. And in these days, we'll continue to walk through the desert. Some are carrying much more than others, certainly. But I pray that all of us will be held and will be carried by God. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. A good Shabbos. Welcome back, Cantor. Good to
Was it
have
just
you.
me, or did the whole thing shut down?
Just you.
Just me.
Great.
It's
Great.
a conspiracy against New Jersey Jews.
Against Cantor. So
I must have thanked some funny notes. That's it.
Without further ado, my friends, as I mentioned, we're in the portion of Naso. It's the 4th chapter of Midbar of the Book of Numbers. We're blessed to have Charlie Scott laning for us this morning. And we'll begin with the beginning of the parasha, if I'm not mistaken, in the Eitz Chaim, in the Chumash that we use in our community. We're on page 791. 791.
וידבר אדוני משה לאמור נשא את ראש בני גרשון גם הם לבית אבותם למשפחתם לפני 30 שנה ומעלה עד בן 50 שנה תפקוד אותם כל הבא לצוות צבא לעבוד עבודה באוהל מועד. זאת עבודת משפחות הגרשוני לעבוד ולמסע. ונעשו את יריות המשכן ואת אוהל מועד. מפסהו ומפסי התחש אשר עליו מלמעלה ואת מסך פתח אוהל מועד ויש לחצר ואת מסך פתח שער החצר אשר על המשכן ועל המזבח סביב ואת מיתריהם ואת כל כלי עבודתם ואת כל אשר יעשה להם ועבדו על פי אהרון ובניו תהיה עבודה בני הגרשוני בכל מסעם ולכל עבודתם ופקדתם עליהם במשמרת את כל מסעם. זאת עבודת משפחות בני הגרשוני באוהל מועד ומשמרתם ביד איתמר בן אהרון הכהן.
You know, Charlie, before you go on, I would just like to maybe carry forward a little bit more on Rabbi Dermer's word. You know, our rabbis make a distinction between carrying something with your hands and carrying something with your shoulders, right? When you carry something with your hands, you lift it up, you take it yourself, right? But the idea of carrying on the shoulders is someone puts a burden, a responsibility on your shoulders. And it's two very different things. Sometimes we have to take on our shoulders those responsibilities that we did not really choose to assume, but that's part of life. Part of living a responsible life, a life of significance, is to know that there will be times when you're not going to choose to do what you want to do. It's going to be chosen for you. And either you carry it on your shoulders and bear it and carry it for as long as you can, or you fail in that moment to accept the mantle of the community's needs and responsibilities that bear upon you. And I think that that's also, a wonderful teaching for this moment, because there are new responsibilities placed on the shoulders of all of us, not just over the last few months, but over the last few weeks as well. How we bear them, how far we carry them, how far we go with them is going to be a real measure of what we are as a society. Okay, Charlie.
Shekoach. We're on page 792, going to the third aliyah.
בני מררי למשפחתם, לבית אבותם, תפקודותם, מבין 30 שנה ומעלה, ועד בין 50 שנה תפקדם כל הבא לצבא, לעבוד את עבודתו המועד, וזאת משמרת מסם לכל עבודתם באוהל מועד, קשי המשכן ובריחה ועמודיו ועדניו, עמודי סביב בידניהם, ביתדותם ומיתריהם, לכל כליהם ולכל עבודתם, ובשמות תפקדו על כלי משמרת מסם. זאת עבודת משפחות בני מררי, לכל עבודתם באוהל מועד, ביד איתמר בן אהרון הכהן. ויפקוד משה ואהרון ונשיאי העדה בני הקטיף למשפחותם לבית אבותם, מבין 30 שנה ומעלה ועד בין 50 שנה, כל הבא לצבא לעבודה באוהל מועד, ויהיו פקודיהם למשפחותם 2,750. אלה פקודי משפחות הקטיף כל ההווה באוהל מועד, אשר פקד משה ואהרון על פי אדוני ביד משה. ופקודי בני גרשון למשפחותם ולבית אבותם, מבין 30 שנה ומעלה ועד בין 50 שנה, כל הבא לצבא לעבודה באוהל מועד, ויהיו פקודיהם למשפחותם לבית אבותם 2,630. אלה פקודי משפחות בני גרשון כל ההווה באוהל מועד, אשר פקד משה ואהרון על פי אדוני. ופקודי משפחות בני מררי למשפחותם לבית אבותם, מבין 30 שנה ומעלה ועד בין 50 שנה, כל הבא לצבא לעבודה באוהל מועד, ויהיו פקודיהם למשפחותם 3,200. אלה פקודי משפחות בני מררי, אשר פקד משה ואהרון על פי אדוני ביד משה, כל הפקודים אשר פקד משה ואהרון ונשיאי ישראל את הלוויים למשפחותם לבית אבותם, מבין 30 שנה ומעלה ועד בין 50 שנה, כל הבא לעבוד עבודה עשה באוהל מועד, ויהיו פקודיהם 8,580. על פי אדוני פקד אותם ביד משה, איש על עבודתו על מסעו, ופקודיו אשר ציווה אדוני את משה.
That was the fifth aliyah. We now are turning to the fifth chapter of the book of Bamidbar. It's on page 793 in the Eitz Chaim, chapter 5, verse 1.
וידבר אדוני משה לאמור, צו את בני ישראל, וישלחו מן המחנה כל צרור וכל זב, וכל טמא לנפש, מזכר עד נקבה תשלחו אל מחוץ למחנה תשלחום, ולא יטמאו את מחניהם אשר נשלחם בתוכם, ויחסו כן בני ישראל. וישלחו אותם אל מחוץ למחנה, כאשר דיבר אדוני אל משה, כן עשו בני ישראל.
Take a
Okay.
moment now, I think, to pause and pray for the healing of those who are in need, those who are ill.
Yes, we will. Can we begin? We haven't sang the Debbie Friedman song in a few weeks, few months, maybe. Cantor?
Good idea.
I would love that. Oh, I don't have it in my book here.
Okay, we'll sing it.
Yeah, go ahead, get it started.
Avotenu.
Kor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us. Help
Help
us
us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach avotenu or habracha
Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the
renewal of spirit.
and let us say, Amen.
Well, we join together to offer this prayer. We join to offer a prayer of healing for members of our family, our friends, people in the community that we know, some that we don't, people in our world who are hurting and whose healing we pray for on this Shabbat. And so we offer the prayer. Misha Beirach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak Yaakov Star Vivcharecha V'Leah Hu Yivarech V'Yirapeh Et HaCholim. Let's take a few moments. Let's slowly think about the people who are ill, who we hope and pray will have a refuah shalema. Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lasikam L'Rabotam V'Yishlach Lehem Meheira Refuah Shalema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuhuv V'Tol Shachole Yisrael Shebatim L'Zok Refuah Karov Alavo Hashta Bagalav Izman Koriv V'Nomar Amen.
Amen.
May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to all of those who suffer illness within our congregational family. May the Holy One mercifully restore them to health and vigor, granting them physical and spiritual well-being together with all others who are ill. It is Shabbat. We hope and pray that healing will be at hand. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
Just before we go on to the next Aliyah, I'm getting the sense that while one of us is speaking, there is a lot of feedback going on. So we may have to continually mute and unmute so that we can cut that feedback out. Okay? I take my vow of silence right now.
Okay, the final aliyah for today's reading. Vaydaber Adonai Moshe lemor daber b'nei Yisrael isho isha yasu mikol chatot adam lim'om al Adonai ושמע הנפש ההיא, והתוודו את חטאותיו אשר עשו, השיב את אשמו בראשו, איתו ויוסף עליו, ונתן לאשר אשם לו, ואין לאיש גואל. להשיב השם אליו, השם המושב לאדוני לכהן, מלבד אל הכיפורים, אשר יכפר בו בכל תרומה, לכל קודשי בני ישראל, אשר יקראו לכהן לא יהיה, ואיש את קדושיו לא יהיו איש, אשר ייתן לכהן לא יהיה.
Charlie, Yesher Koach.
Yesher Koach, Charlie. Okay.
So now we are turning to our Haftorah. We have a beautiful treat in store for us. Rabbi Klein will be chanting the Haftorah that he chanted for his bar mitzvah. For his bar mitzvah, you can follow along on page 813, bringing together really two of the biblical traditions about the Nazir, one who takes the vow of becoming a Nazirite, separating himself from certain aspects of the community so that he can focus more with more intention and attention on coming close to God. And I just want to say before Rabbi Klein, before you begin, very, very briefly, that you probably didn't imagine all of those years ago when you first chanted this Haftorah at your bar mitzvah, that one day you would be chanting it again on Zoom, of all things. And you might not have thought about all that's gone into a lifetime of leadership and leading the Jewish people as you were chanting it that first time. But what I do want to say is this: Naso means to lift up. And we're just so grateful for all that you've done for our community to lift us up in these challenging moments and, of course, in joyful moments through everything. And so we'll offer you a special Misha Berach next week for your actual birthday. We're not going to make a big deal about anything now, but really just a moment to say thank you, and we want to recognize you in all the ways that you continue to lift us up as you chant these words.
Thank you, Rabbi Derma, and I assure you, as I said to you yesterday, I couldn't do it this year without this incredible team, you know, with you especially, and Cantor and our wonderful lay people. And I just want to say that when I was 13 years old, it was a challenge. It was a scary situation as a 13-year-old. Now older, it's a little bit more difficult because I can barely see the text. The Haftorah book is in the sanctuary, and without it, it's difficult. I will tell you that I called my rabbi yesterday, the rabbi from who I grew up with, and I asked him, I said, do you know what you were doing 56 years ago today? And he said, what? I said, you were preparing to be the rabbi at my bar mitzvah. So he says, it's 56 years ago? I said, yes, 56 years ago. So anyway, here we go. Vayhi ish echad mitzara mishpachat Adoni ushmo Manoach v'ishto akara v'lo yalada. Vayera malach Adonai el ha'isha vayomer eleha hinena adakaraha v'lo yaladet v'harid v'yaladet bein v'yata hishamrina v'ahal tishti yayin v'shecha v'yahal tochli kol tamei Hi הנה חרב ילדת בן, ומורה לא יעלה על ראשו, כי נזיר אלוהים יהיה הנער מן הבטן, והוא יחל להושיע את ישראל מיד פלישתים. ותבוא האישה ותאמר לאישה לאמור, איש אלוהים בא אליי ומראהו, ימרא מלאך אלוהים נורא מאוד, ולא שאלתיהו מי זהו, ואת שמו לא הגיד לי. ויאמר לי, הנה חרב ילדת בן, ואתה אל תשתי יין ושיכה, ואל תאכלי כל טומאה, כי נזיר אלוהים יהיה הנער מן הבטן עד יום מותו. ויתם מנוח אל אדוני ויאמר, בי אדוני איש אלוהים אשר שלחת יבוא נאות אלינו ויורנו, מה נעשה לנער היולד, וישמע אלוהים בקול מנוח, ויבוא מלאך אלוהים אל האישה, והיא יושבת בשדה, ומנוח אישה אין עמה. ותמהר האישה ותרץ ותגד לאישה, ותאמר אליו, הנה נראה אלי האיש אשר בא ביום אלי. ויקם וילך מנוח אחרי אשתו, ויבוא אל האיש ויאמר לו, האתה האיש אשר דיברת אל האישה, ויאמר אני. ויאמר מנוח, עתה יבוא דבריך, מה יהיה משפט הנער ומעשהו. ויאמר מלאך אדוני אל מנוח, מכל אשר אמרתי אל אישה תשמר, מכל אשר יצא מגפן היין לא תאכל, ויין ושיכה אל תש, וכל טומאה אל תאכל, כל אשר ציווית תשמור. ויאמר מנוח אל מלאך אדוני, נצרה נא אותך ונעשה לפניך גדידים. ויאמר מלאך אדוני אל מנוח, אם תעצרני לא אוכל בלחמך, ואם תעשה עולה לאדוני תעלנה, כי לא ידע מנוח כי מלאך אדוני הוא. ויאמר מנוח אל מלאך אדוני בשמך, כי יבוא דבריך וכיבדנוך. ויאמר לו מלאך אדוני, למה זה תשאל לשמי, והוא פלאי. ויקח מנוח הגדי העזים ואת העט המנחה, ויעלה לצור לאדוני, ומפליא לעשות, ומנוח ואשתו רואים. ויהי בעלות עליו מעל המזבח שמיימה, וימלך אדוני בעליו המזבח, ומנוח ואשתו רואים, ויפלו על פניהם ארצה. ולא יוסף עוד מלאך אדוני להיראות אל מנוח ואל אשתו, אז ידע מנוח כי מלאך אדוני הוא. Vayomer Manoach el ishto mot namut ki Elohim ra'inu vatomer lo ha'ishto lo chafetz Adonai lamitenu lo lakach miadenu ola umincha velo hiranu et kol ele v'chait lo hishmianu bazo Vaytelet Haisha ben Vetikra Shimo Shimshon Vayigdal Hanar Vayivarchehu Adonai Vatachel Ruach Adonai Lefamo B'machanei Dan Bein Sarah Uvein Eshtaol.
Yes, Koach. We can tell you've chanted these words before.
One day I'll take out the pictures of me as a chubby 13-year-old bar mitzvah. Not yet. I'm not yet ready for that.
Be careful with that decision.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So shall we go on, friends? We have some prayers to say left, prayers for the country, prayers for the state of Israel, words of Torah, which Rabbi Klein will be sharing in a moment in his sermon. Yesher Koach, Charlie Scott, and to Rabbi Klein.
Baruch Tiyeh. Baruch Tiyeh.
Let's pray our prayer now for our country, asking our leaders for wisdom, digging deep within ourselves to find the common humanity, our brothers and sisters, and to live with compassion and with love in our hearts. Let's pray. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights from your Torah that they may administer all of affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony to banish hatred and bigotry and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that are the pride and glory of our country. May this land under your providence be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, and helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. We say amen.
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 Now on page 149, on the top of the page, our prayer for Israel, Avinu Sheba Shemayim Tzur Yisrael, Rock and Redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And we say,
Amen.
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 now back in our Sidurim, we're on the bottom of page 151, praying the words of Ashrei, and then we turn to words of Torah. For now, Ashrei, page 151.
אשרי יושבי ביתך יעלוך סלע אשרי העם שככה לו אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו תהילה לדבר עמך גדול ומלמד ולגדול חקר מלכותך מחוקה משלך פותח את ידיך ושביע לכל חי רצון. תהילה אתה אדוני ידבר פי ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם הללויה.
Yashikoach, Cantor, Rabbi, thank you. I have spent a few weeks reading a wonderful book, which for me personally couldn't be more timely. It's the biography of Abraham Joshua Heschel, Mind, Heart, and Soul. And as I've read it, I've been thinking, what would Heschel require of us in a time like this? What would Heschel, who spoke with such compassion, such courage, who channeled the prophetic vision in his words, what would he say that we as Jews and that I as a rabbi should say to our community and should hear within myself? What is it that he would want the Jewish message to be? And I've thought about it as I've turned each page of this book, because it's not just a reading, it's a responsibility that he talks about here. What would Heschel say about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people all across our country coming into the streets and protesting and chanting, "I can't breathe"? What would he say that we as Jews, where should we be as Jews? And I want to answer that question, at least as I can today. When I was a teenager at Camp Ramah, I had a counselor who every day woke us up with the same music. It was the song, "We shall overcome." Every day. That's how we woke up in the mid-60s. Because we understood, because Heschel was the teacher of the people who guided me as a youth, we understood that we had a place in the battle, in the struggle for civil rights. We understood it from the time we were young. And so we sang, "We shall overcome." And now as I look back after all these years, I understand we have not fully overcome. We have not fully overcome. There are still parts of the world that we inherited from the past that have to give way. The voices of the people we are hearing today may be better than ever before, I hope. The cries of people are demanding that a new world be born. And they're right. And they're right. Because we have more obstacles to overcome in America. I have searched deeply. I think some of you know that. And I have come to the conclusion, and I speak for myself, if it applies to you, then take it to heart. That I haven't paid enough attention to the depth of the agony of people of color in this country. I suspect said there'll be a government, there'll be a judge, there'll be a court, there'll be an agency to take care of this. But something changed with the murder of George Floyd. Something changed. And I think many of us feel that way. It was a turning point for me, for many people, and I hope for the majority of Americans, what was it I've tried to analyze? What made his murder different than every other murder that we've heard about? We saw this. We saw people trying to stop the police officer who would not. We saw onlookers trying to prevent this tragedy, and they could not. We have for a long time, for decades, depended upon agencies and courts in this country to deal with all of this. We pretended that it had nothing to do with us, that our intentions were good, but it didn't have anything really to do with us. And what we found out, it does. It does. My friends, I was speaking to Helen Drogan yesterday, our beloved past president. And Helen asked me the question, and I told her I would say it in her name to her congregation. She asked, I wonder what has to be done to assure the Black and brown communities that things will really change. And that's a powerful question. You know, Helen always asks powerful questions. But I want to go beyond that, because it's not only the Black and brown communities that need to be assured that change will occur. It's us too. Because I can't believe that any one of us wants this to be the legacy of our time, of our America. I can't believe that any one of us wants this to be the legacy of the America that we had the chance to make better. So I welcome those who have stepped into the battle to make this moment a moment that maybe leads to the kind of systemic change that will really convince not just the Black and brown communities who deserve that convincing, but us. That we showed that we had the capacity, the energy, the courage that Heschel lived for, that Heschel wanted Jews to exhibit, to make this world more moral. Revelation has taken place over these last 10 days or so. We have learned a part of what the anguish of the experience of Black and brown communities has been for decades in our country. My friends, what I want to share with you is this today. I don't believe that George Floyd is smiling down upon us today because the economy is better. Perhaps. I don't believe that George Floyd is smiling down. I believe that there's an agony. There's an agony in his soul, severed from his body in an untimely way. I believe that that's an agony, a cry, which we are asked to hear and not disguise. That we are asked to hear and not close our ears to. I want to take us back to the Torah for a moment. Our ancestors in the wilderness, and the wilderness was ominous. The wilderness was far from the promised land. The wilderness was a place, the desert was a place in which people became your enemies. It was a place in which There was no food and there was no water. It was a place to be frightened, a place to be scared. And there in the desert, what Aaron said to the people was absolutely for them the healing ingredient for their circumstance. He said to them, the Birkat Kohanim, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may the Lord bless you and guard you. Ya'er Adonai panav v'yelecha v'yichunecha, may God shine his light upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav v'yelecha v'yasem lecha shalom, may God turn his face unto you and may he grant you peace. Those words were spoken to give our frightened ancestors reassurance in the most challenging of locations that they could see their way to the promised land. In the wilderness, they were told that there was a future. Those words gave a people their future back to them. God, the rabbis tell us, offers us this protection. Then, now and always, God is there to protect us against that part of us that tells us we can't do anything. God is that voice that suppresses what we feel when we feel discouraged, when we feel that we can't make things better. The Birkat Kohanim says, God is with you to take you to that place where there will be peace. In the Israelites' despair, in anyone's despair, in our national despair, those blessings ask us to believe that God believes in us. As if to say, if you don't feel you can heal this problem, if you don't feel that you can heal what America needs to have healed, then I am with you to make certain that you will. The Birkat Kohanim doesn't guarantee that God will fix this. Heschel, Abraham Joshua Heschel, he said it in so many ways for so many issues. We can't depend upon God to heal what he has given us the strength to heal and make better. That God gives us the imagination to hope, the courage to work, the strength to permit us to believe that this moment will not pass without its promise realized. Don't give up, America, he's saying. Birkat Kohanim is saying that. Aaron is saying that. Heschel said that. Don't give up, America, and we should not give up on America. We have a voice to play, and what I have always loved about anything that Heschel taught is that he reminded America, he reminded the world that there is a Jewish voice that must be heard, that shouldn't be silenced. You know, my friends, America is a special place. That I know of, there are only 2 countries in the history of the world where there is a belief that there is a covenant between the people of that country and God. One was the Jewish people, and one was the people, the citizens of the United States of America. America wasn't created to be mediocre. What is it that we sing? God shed his grace on thee. There is a covenant that makes America what America is intended to be. And what I would hope, and I will not give up hope, what I will hope is that our president will understand his role in calling us, the American people, to remember our covenant with God, to make this country a shining city on a hill, where all will live and none shall be afraid. When we say, as we did, when we offer the blessing for our country, those aren't just words. Think of what we said. Teach our leaders of this country insights from our Torah, that they may act with justice, so that there will be peace and security, justice and freedom. We say that blessing because we absolutely believe that the voice of Torah, that the power of Scripture is desperately needed to lift up our national debate, to take it beyond partisanship, and to remind ourselves all the time of a covenant to greatness, of a covenant to mutual concern and support, of a covenant that America stands for, that we are a land of justice for all. Every day in elementary school, we used to say a pledge of allegiance: with liberty and justice for all. One nation under God. One nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. I pray earnestly every single Shabbat that prayer, because I hope that somehow the inspiration of Torah will be heard in the highest precincts and the highest officers of our land. Because if that happened, we wouldn't be taking to the streets in protest. We would take to the streets to celebrate a new dawn of America, an America that becomes all we hope and pray it could be. My friends, that is our hope as Jews. I read Heschel, and he says to me that you as a rabbi, you better speak those words. You better not be silent, because then you've stopped being the rabbi you were to be. I don't see any way possible that the murder of George Floyd and the events of these weeks can ever permit us to desist from taking up this challenge. I don't know how that happened. It can happen. Years ago, I think it was 1987, perhaps a year or so before, there was a moment in time that every Jew who was alive at that moment said, this is one of our proudest moments ever. A great prophetic figure in American life, American Jewish life. A man who imbued the spirit that Abraham Joshua wrote about and lived for and spoke about. A man by the name of Elie Wiesel stood in the White House in front of the President of the United States. Most of us remember that moment well. President Reagan had decided that he was going to go to Germany. And on the itinerary of that tour, he was going to be taken to a military cemetery, a German military cemetery, where members of the SS were buried. And the Jewish community was in an uproar. You can't go visit a cemetery where Nazi soldiers are buried and honor them. It was up to Elie Wiesel to go in front of the President of the United States, speaking into his face, I can still see it now, and say to him, with the courage of a Jeremiah, of an Isaiah, Mr. President, your place is not with the soldiers of the Nazis. Your place is with the victims of those SS soldiers. And it was heralded as one of the greatest moments in American Jewish history. And I know the president won't hear this, but I wish this message could be heard. Because I pray, that's what we just prayed. I pray it will be heard. I pray that our president will understand and take to heart that his role as president now is to be with the victims of racism in the country. That's what would heal this country. That's what would move this country forward to the better age. That's what would make George Floyd smile from heavens above. That's what would make him smile. To see the leadership of this country act as one and say, this will not stand any longer in America. This will not stand. I pray it will happen. My friends, I heard a long time ago that there are two kinds of darkness in the world. Rabbi Dermer, remember this, you'll use it one day. There's the darkness of the womb and the darkness of the tomb. Two different kinds of darkness. The darkness of the tomb leads to nowhere. It's just foreboding. But the darkness of the womb can lead to a better America. A better America being born. Let us in America choose the darkness of the womb. I pray, as we all pray, for healing, for America to be the covenanted society that it was always envisioned it would be. And I pray that one day, soon in our day, indeed, we shall overcome. Shabbat Shalom.
Yesher koach.
Wow. Shabbat Shalom. Yesher koach. Yesher koach.
Well, yeah. Okay. Let me take a breath. Whew. Cantor, are you ready?
I'm still breathing after that amazing sermon. What timely words, beautifully spoken. Thank you. Thank you. I thank you on behalf of everybody. Thank you.
Solar energy, I think, calling. So let us begin our Amida for Musaf, page 156b. Kazan, we look forward to hearing and sharing in the melody with you.
Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Vehanora, El Elyon, Go Melech Hasadim Tovim, Bekolei Hakol, V'zocher Chazdei Ahavot, Umevi Goel Ibnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Ufoked Umoshia Umagin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Abraham Ufoked Sarah, Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Meitim Atorah Leoshia, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye Meitim Berachamim Rabim, Zomeich Noflim Merovei Cholim, Umatil Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamo Chavar Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Mevit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nemanato lehachayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hameitim.
Amen. Amen.
וביום השעה בו שלגו סימני שונות תמימים ושני עשרון סולוס מלכבול ולבשם וניסקו עד שבת בשבתו על עולת התמיד וניסקו ישמחו למחוסו שמשם זכרי עונג ותהר ליבנו No se shalom, shalom bimromav, yase shalom. Oh, se shalom, shalom bimromav, yase shalom. Oh, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'emeru Amen. Oh, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'emeru Amen. Oh, say Shalom, Shalom, shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom ose shalom shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom hu yaseh shalom shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei ze'ever ve'imenu amen hu yaseh shalom shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei ze'ever ve'imenu amen.
Shikach, beautiful.
Up to you.
Ein Keloheinu, wherever you are, sing it out.
I had a special melody I wanted to sing today for this. It wraps in two themes that have been discussed by our rabbis today. The concept of naso. This melody for Ein Keloheinu is actually a melody by Shlomo Karlebach for the text for Esa Einai, which comes from the same root word as naso. So just as Rabbi Dermer was talking about our Rabbi Klein lifting us up, Ein Keloheinu in this case will lift us up with this melody of Esa Einai. And it's a twofold thing because I also during the week was thinking this is a very appropriate phrase for this day. Esa Einai el heharim me'ayin yavo ezri. I look to the mountains, from where will our help come? Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadonenu, Michemalkeinu, Michemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shekiru Avotenu, Lefanecha et Ketoret Asamim.
And now Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol lateit gedula leotzer breshit shelo asanu kigoyel haratzot velo samanu kemishbechodo adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem vegor aleinu kechol hamodam ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נותן שמיים ויוסד ארץ ומה שבקרוב השמיים ועל שמיים אין עוד על כן הקו לכם נלך וישנו כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולמי עד תמלוך בכבוד ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We're joined by our minyan on Zoom, so let us go now to the mourner's Kaddish, page 184. Yitgadal v'yigadal v'yiracham v'yalma d'ibra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei b'chol beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kari v'yimru amen Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Ulomei Omaya Yitborach V'yishtabach V'yipoar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shemei D'Kudsha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol V'yirchata V'shirata V'shpechata V'nechemata Namiram V'yoma V'yimru Amen Yehei Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen Oseh Shalom Imrama V'yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen.
Amen.
What a pleasure it is. How are you moving on my screen? Okay, I can't keep you. There you are. What a pleasure it is to be able to call upon Howie Siegel, president of our congregation, to offer the Shabbat and weekly announcements. Howie, if you would.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom to everybody. It's wonderful to see all of you out there, wherever you are on our live stream on Zoom. And I want to wish a Yasher Koach to Rabbi Klein and Rabbi Dermer and Cantor Varshavsky and Charlie Scott, who I omitted last week. So I apologize for that. And between the four of them, they are giving us a wonderful Shabbat experience to be part of, even though we're not in our building, in our beloved sanctuary. This is the best we can do right now. So I want to thank all of them for their hard work in preparing Shabbat services for us in a very meaningful way. I also want to echo probably what everybody's thinking, and the Cantor said it best. That the Rabbi, your sermon, your words were timely, they were powerful, and hopefully they could be heard by more than those on our live stream today, because they were so important, and we just hope there'll be some healing in our country and our world, and we really need it. As we saw in our own neighborhood, there's a very strong feeling about what's going on and the injustice, and hopefully there could be some change. And I also want to wish Rabbi Klein a Yasher Koach on chanting the Haftorah. As many of you know, it's also my bar mitzvah Haftorah as well. And it was 43 years ago for me, Memorial Day weekend, 1977 was my bar mitzvah Parshat Naso as well. And I couldn't have done it any better than you did it today. And I also never thought that I would do it on Zoom either. But I also never thought I would be giving the Shabbat announcements on Zoom either. So we just have to adapt to the times and make the best of it. Some upcoming events. I just want to remind everybody that our semi-annual congregational meeting will be on Thursday evening, June 18th at approximately 8:15, 8:30 after our evening minyan. It'll be on Zoom as well, and we'll provide more information as the days go on about the meeting. So hopefully you can all join with us. I also want to invite you to join Havdalah tonight at 9:15. That will be led by Cantor Varshavsky, so we look forward to that. And tomorrow morning's minyan on Zoom will be at 8:30 a.m. Is there a sing-along tomorrow night, Cantor?
Yes, there is.
Okay, so
Sing along for Pete in memory of George Floyd.
7:30 p.m. will be a sing-along with the Cantor. And with that, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Howie. Thank you very much. I'm looking to see if next year you can do it, the Haftorah, if we have a free Shabbos that particular Shabbos of Naso.
Thank you. We shared it last year.
We did, that's right. We did. We split it up. Yeah, that was wonderful. And Rabbi, always a pleasure. always a pleasure. Cantor, absolutely with you. And Charlie, we'll try to figure out what Joanne is trying to teach you behind you on the blackboard. What lesson are you up to, Charlie? All right, go slowly with him, Joanne.
You're on mute.
We can't hear you, Charlie. Okay.
He's working on it.
We're
All
learning
right.
how to sort objects by color, by shape.
Oh, all right. Joanne, take him along slowly. That's all. He does a beautiful Torah reading, but those basic lessons, you just keep working with him on. And let's conclude now with Adon Olam, page 187. Thanks to everybody who was with us today. We really are grateful that you helped make the minyan, and those who are out there, we hope that you enjoyed being with us for Shabbat morning. Shabbat Shalom. 187.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Deitasa, B'chefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei Kizot HaKol, Levado Yimelok Nora, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hove, Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara, והוא אחד ושני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי בצור חברי ביתרה והוא ניסי ומנוסי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא ויהדו הפקיד רוחי Beitishtan me'aira ve'emrufi kiriyati Adonai li ve'lo ira Adon Olam asher malav b'terem kol yetzir nivra le'hidasa b'chefzo kol Atai melech shemo nikra.
Yashikoach, Cantor, and let me offer this blessing. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and guard you. Ye'er Adonai panavilecha v'yichunecha. May God shine his light upon you and be gracious and good to all of us. Yisa Adonai panavilecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God turn his countenance unto you and may he grant you all of us in our world peace. Amen. Cantor, you want to do Kiddush?
Love to.
Let's rise for Kiddush, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom.
Sabrim, Veshameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת ולא ברית עולם, ביני ובני ישראל אותי לעולם. ששת ימים עשו אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ויום השביעי שבת וינפש. על כן בטח בני יום השבת ויקדשהו, סהברים, רבותיי, ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי אדם.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat,
Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat,
Shalom.
Shabbat, Shabbat,
Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Good job.